Welcome back. It's time to look at Nigeria 2015, the media and elections.
So you're about to discuss you.
So we're discussing ourselves, right? Okay, the media at different times have been accused of underreporting, overreporting, heating up the polity, underheating the polity, and
not reporting at all.
Or not reporting at all. So all of these issues have come up, and the role of the media in entrenching democracy cannot be overemphasized. So this morning we have in the studio a legal practitioner and the media man. Let me start with the legal practitioner. Is Mr. Tokunbo Odutola. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
And we also have the editor of the Guardian newspapers, Mr. Martin Oloja. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, the president of the Nigeria Guild of Editors, and who is also the managing director of some newspapers, Mr. Femi Adesina. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, now we are discussing ourselves, and the truth must be told. So far for this elections, how would you rate the media performance? Let me start with Mr. Adesina.
Thank you. As a media professional, I think the media has done quite well. I have noticed one or two occasions when we stepped out of line, but by and large, I'll give the media a pass mark. The media has done well. If you look at the history of the media in Nigeria, dating back into colonial times, you'll find that the media always responds to whatever is the situation in the country. At colonial times, when nationalism fervor came, the media also responded to that, and it began to crusade against colonialism. After that, we became independent, and then came in military rule. At a point, agitation came against continued rule of the military. The media also weighed in, and the crusading began till the military left. Now, we're in democracy. Okay, let's not forget also that before we got here, there was an election which was annulled, rated free and fair and credible. The media was also in the vanguard of opposition to that annulment. Now it's time to hold another election. Naturally, the media is also standing up to be counted. The media is reflecting what is happening in the polity. Anything that happens at any given time is never a creation of the media. The media simply reflects what is the mood of the polity.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Odutola. Yeah. You are neutral, you're a lawyer. He said the media, he's given the media a pass mark, the media has done well. Do you agree with this?
Well, basically, I think I want to look at it from the angle of the common man. And to me, I think it depends on which side of the divide you belong to. We must note one fact that in this country, the issue of poverty comes to foreplay. There's also the issue of ownership. He who plays the piper dictates the tune. And the media homes in Nigeria, if you want to look at the print media, you want to look at the electronic media, most of them cannot go outside what the dictator or the owner wants to be done.
There's a new one, you missed out. New media.
New media.
New media.
Or social media.
Social media, right. The social media. Well, we get a lot of information from the social media. But in viewing in viewing the Nigerian media or rating them, so to say, to me, I tend to stand on the ground that, hey, it's who pays the piper that it takes the tune. One, I want to just use this analogy, although it hasn't got to do with elections, but I have to use it as a reflection of our media. The allegation that came out during the period of the synagogue collapse is how fat, to the poor man, he believes, is how fat the brown envelope is. The media reports. Like he has said, let's put them on.
Mr. Oloja, would you agree with it? Because I was going to ask, how fair is the media? Based on what he said now, would you agree with him?
No, I don't agree with him.
Not at all.
I won't agree with him. In the first instance, you said he who pays the piper calls the tune, but he doesn't hold the pipe. The person who pays the piper doesn't hold the pipe. The people who set up, most of the people who even set up these media organs that you are assessing, do not operate. They have operators, that's what I mean. Yeah, right. And you are indicting the operators that they are just listening. As for us, for instance, our own owners, our proprietors, do not dictate the tune, do not call the tune at all. They just go home, for instance, and see the Guardian newspaper this morning, like other readers. It is the same. Some of the proprietors don't even stay where the operators are located. Some don't know what happens at the end of the month. So if we want to assess ourselves, let's assess ourselves. Leave the owners alone. There is a fact that while there are some owners who are politicians, who are also manning some political parties, you can say these are exceptional. But the truth of the matter is that you should look at the operators within the context of the society that we are reporting, that we are Nigerians, and we have our own biases, we have every other background that every other person has, even for us as journalists. But to a very large extent, I want you to look at the society that we are reporting and the complexity of the diversity that we report at this juncture. As the president said, he gave various background. In the First Republic, there was a context. In the Second Republic, there was a context. In the Third Republic, that the military juggernauts even supervised. The June 12th election that brought us even to this pass was a context. I just reminded somebody yesterday that people forgot that military people have never left politics and politicians, even political reporting alone. I reminded them that people have forgotten that during the Third Republic of Professor Humphrey Nwosu fame, this INEC then, called National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, NEC, it was a serving military officer of the military intelligence GINA that supervised logistics that we are talking about now. The then Colonel Abdullahi Wase. He was the director of logistics and supply, posted from the military intelligence unit of the military establishment to supervise as a director. He was there. So that was a context. And Mr. Tony Redia, now Dr. Tony Redia, was the director of public affairs. At that time, I was already a newspaper editor. So it's not that we just came in to see some of these things like that, the proprietor will be dictating to you the kind of questions you will ask, how you cast your headline, how you will do this. No, nothing happens like that. Let's look at ourselves.
If I come in here, what he raised, he used an example of the collapse of the building at the synagogue church. And there was a video that was, an audio tape that was posted by a journalist about how the journalists that were there in that press conference were settled to kill a certain story. And he used that as an analogy to say, sometimes journalists go out there, they will not report the story because